need to worry for that. But download the recording before it gets deleted. Okay, so welcome you all to this course on engineering drawing, and I am Anubhav, assistant professor in mechanical engineering department, and today we'll start with basics. So I will just cover the broadly what is the outline of this course, what we are planning to do, what are the objectives, and we'll also talk about what is the marking scheme as of now, what we have planned. So to give you an outline of this course, basically will be covering 10 drawing sheets. Okay. So first 5 sheets I will be covering, and next 5 will be covered by Dr. Neelanjan Malik, who is also a professor in mechanical department. So we'll start with some basics of engineering drawing as we move along, and we'll look into various aspects of lettering, how to construct different geometrical figures like polygons or bisect align, and then we'll talk about in next week. So this is for sheet 1, which we will discuss today, and this actually the time slot is for 4 hours. So that the idea was that you are making sheets in that 4 hours. So when you are physically present. Now in online classes, I will show you the presentation that will last say roughly around 1 hour or so, and then you will get time to submit that sheet. So after this class, I will also give you sheet 1, which will contain some problems, and you need to solve that. Basically, you have to draw some pictures based on what question is given on that sheet. Take a photo of that picture and make a PDF file and upload it to Google Classroom. So Google is for that, and Teams is for these classes. Okay, so let me share the instructions. So basically, you need to take a sketchbook. Okay, I will suggest you buy one drawing sketchbook, which will be A3 size. I think it is not written here. So A4 is the general paper you take for printout. Double of that size is A3. So that sort of drawing book is available in market. You can get one book, and I will also give you a template. So on each page, make a template, and within the template, you will make a drawing. Okay. So you will get 1 week to submit. So today I will give you. Next Friday, let us say by Friday night, you have to upload that. So I am putting it night so that next week also we have a class. If you have doubt, you can discuss in the class, work on that sheet, and then submit it. Okay. So you need to keep that sketchbook. Maybe it is finally they will ask for something, and yeah, this is the problem sheet that I was talking about. So you need to make it with geometry box. You will get compass, set square, and those standard instruments, and different types of pencils, as I will we will see as we go along. And this is the present communication what I got from department and dean office, that 10 sheets they all will give you 60 marks. Okay. And then finally we'll have one more quiz for 10 marks. So this comes to be 70. The remaining 30 marks will be given to end sem. Okay, so but these are the instructions as of now. If there is any change, I get informed. I will immediately let you know. As of now, this is the plan. But I have heard that some proposal is to keep this for 50 marks or so. But once it is not confirmed, once it changes or any other confirmation is there, I will let you know. As of now, this is the plan. This is the marking scheme. Okay, so a lot of weightage is given to this sheets. So please be submit on time and make it neatly and clearly. That's one instruction. Okay, now let us talk about the subject. So basically, the idea is that as an engineer, you will design some objects, right? So how do you convey that? How do you tell someone to manufacture that part or see whether that part will be fitting in an assembly? So the conventional way is that you make drawing of that part or any object you have. Even suppose civil engineers, they are designing some buildings or architectural components. So for that, drawing is there. So basically you need to, there are some systematic procedure in which you draw, and basically they are supposed to be conveying some meaning. So we'll see. It has to be standardized and uniform across everyone. So what are the equipment? So generally when you have classes, we have drawing boards like this. You fix your sheet on this and then draw. But as of now, you are doing it at home. But generally this is what is followed, and these are the standard sizes. You don't need to remember that, but just for your knowledge, this is the standard sizes in which these boards are available. And when you draw on this board using a chart paper, you also need a drafter. So drafter is basically mounted on this. So instead of drafter, now you can use set square to make these lines. So this is how drafter is mounted, just to give you some background. So the idea is that these two lines are perpendicular, and whenever you move this drafter, these are parallel to this axis. So once you make this x and y axis or border, so you need to follow and same alignment. That is the main use of drafter. Now you can use set squares or projectors to do the same thing in a smaller scale. And coming to the size of your sheet, drawing sheet. So basically the biggest sheet available is A0. This is the full size, and your dimensions you can see here. So generally we talk about A1, A2, A3. So how many folds you do to A0 will determine what is the sheet name. For example, if you fold it once, fold in the middle, so it will become A1. If you fold it again, it will become A2. Fold it 3 times, A3. So this is what we are. You are supposed to get a sketchbook of these dimensions: 297 into 420 millimeter. Okay, A4 is generally what you use for printouts. So again, you do, yes.
So some people, sir, can you accept a request? Some people.
Yes. What is that?
Sir, to join the class.
Sir, some of them are have sent the
check.
request, but it's not been accepted, so they are asking.
Let me check what is the scenario.
Check.
I don't see any request. Okay, let me check the, if they have requested for membership now, that might be the case.
Yeah, that's the case, sir.
See, you should not be so late. I don't know how to add between class. Oh, fine. Accept it. I hope they will be able to join.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Coming back to see, I'm presenting it full screen, so I cannot see any messages or any request that comes. So fine. So A3 is what you are supposed to get a sketchbook of this dimension. So this is, see, these things are just for your information and knowledge. You don't need to learn on this. Okay. So now something important. So generally you people have used HB pencil so far. This is the most commonly used type of pencil, but there are different grades of pencil. Okay, whether you want to make it very dark or light. So for drawing class, for this type of purpose, we use 3H or H. Okay, generally will not use HB except you are doing some freehand drawing. HB is not preferred. We use softer pencils H and 3H. So different grades, different names denote how hard that is. What you can see from this outline. Okay, so for this is the general suggestion that for initial work you can use H, and for final drawing you can use 3H or 2H. So for arrowheads and all, 2H. So 3H and H are the most commonly used for your assignments. Okay, so please make a note. Moving on. So generally, I'm just showing you pictures of the available instruments that you will be using. I hope that you all are familiar with compass and divider. So for making some construction, so for example, as you see along this lecture, when you want to make a polygon or you want to divide a line or arc, compass or divider might be used. And similarly, you can use protractor, set square, scales, and all that. Another thing is French curves. These are used for when you have some curves to be fitted. Most likely for my part, I will not be using. Maybe in second section with Dr. Malik, you might be using French curves. So these are pins or clips when you want to stick your sheet to a drawing board. So I'll just skip through this. There is nothing much important here. Pencil cutters and generally you sharpen your pencil using sandpaper when you are doing some fine calligraphy, but cutter itself is quite okay for our purpose. And okay, so this is how you layout of the sheet is made. Okay, so basically you remove some side for trimming, then you different types of marking schemes are there. So this is a general template, standard template, but for your assignment, okay, just let me go through all the details. So generally you make the drawing inside this, and this is the title block, which looks like this. So you can have something like this or something like this. What is recommended here is for this course, you can have a simple take a A3 sheet and make margins on it and make a template like this. Write your name, roll number, and all that. And I will also share this in Google template for you, so you can just copy it on your sketchbook. So this is what is to be used for all the sheet submission work. Okay. Now let us go in detail for different constituents of a drawing. So first you need to how to construct a line. So as we have mentioned that as we go along, we'll see the different types of line, solid line, dotted line, and all that, and different types of pencils to be used for different types of line. But the basic idea is that basically you want to show the shape and size of the object, okay, and dimensions. So the idea is that line should be clean, continuous, and it should be clear. It should not be fudged or it should not be broken unnecessary. So just these are just basic building blocks of a drawing. So the idea is that it should be readable, clear, and concise. So these are the different types of line. So generally you will use continuous line, whether thick or thin, and these are the applications. So I'm not going into the detail. When we go along this course, as we go along, we'll see that what exactly each type of line is being used for. So for example, for first few sheets, mostly we'll be concerned with visible outlines and edges. Okay, when we go for, like, let us say cut sections or some hidden sections, then we may need imaginary lines. Okay, so it will be more clear once we do or we draw that particular plot. But you should just go through it once, that what are the different applications for different types of lines. And I think in today's sheet also there is a question where you need to draw all these lines. So basically most of the commonly used for our purpose continuous lines, and you can have also freehand. So generally we'll not do it for till sheet 5. We don't have any freehand, if I remember correctly. And if you, let us say if you're a long part, you break it into 2. So you can show that with continuous zigzag lines, or if some surface treatment, that again till my portion till sheet 5 I don't think we have, but generally if you have some surface treatment you can show it with this line, or hidden lines, hidden edges by dashed line. So solid, dashed, and we have chain line. So long, dash, narrow. So these are used for center lines, line of symmetry. And you can also have when you cut a plane. So this will be discussed in more detail when you go to solid objects. When you cut a solid object, basically using cutting planes, then this type of line will be used. Okay, so different types of dotted and continuous lines. Now coming to lettering. Okay, so basically when we write title, dimensions, anything, lettering is used. So there are various rules as we see, but the common idea, what is the general nutshell, we can say that it has to be readable. It has to be readable, it has to be clearly written, and some sort of uniformity is there. Okay, as you can see on the letters, it could be upright or it could be italics, but you see they are all uniformly marked. It looks like it is printed, but it is not. It is you are supposed to write like this. That is the idea. There are different prescribed ways. So, for example, you can write A come first stroke, second stroke, and third stroke. So, just to make it uniform and clearly readable, that is the idea of using this functions. But it is not like hard and fast rule, but this is a suggested way to write these letters. And similarly for numbers. Now, whenever you write in lettering, there are also some standard dimensions. So the how much should be the height, how much gap you should leave between two letters or one word, or what is the thickness of this. So all these have some suggested or standard dimensions. So let us have a look. So lettering can be done in two types. Either you can do this is D. Okay, D and H is the height. Here it is written. H is the height of the letter. D is the thickness in which you are making that letter. Okay, so you can have either D is equal to H by 10 or it should be okay. I have it wrong. So this is actually sorry, this is H by, let me correct it. This is H by 14 and this is H by 10. Okay, so for this we get different types of suggested dimensions. H, height of lowercase will be C, which is 10 by 14 of H, spacing between characters. So all these are standard, some values given, but when you write a lot of letters, you will not go and measure each of this. So this is just a general overview. You need not like measure everything, but try to keep in that sort of ratio. Try to keep it uniform, clear, and readable. That is all is required, and not very far from it. Don't like do 2 times of this, but just keep this ratio in mind, and roughly around approximately around that ratio you try to build your character like this. So you can have H by 14 which is thin, or H by 10 which is little bold. So different dimensions are given for A, B, E and D, which are marked here. If you go back, A, E, D, B. B should be here. Okay, so just keep in mind when you make this is one question in today's sheet is also on writing this lettering. Okay, so what are the rules? So basically these are the general overview, but the main idea is that letter should be consistent. It should look like you have made one stroke. It should not be like you have multiple times you have rubbed, and this ratio should be maintained. That's all. And generally you prefer to write in capitals, but when required you can also write lowercase alphabets. And as I have shown that arrow mark, so you should write from left to right or top to bottom. This is generally prescribed or suggested rules for writing letters. And as obvious, it should not be like touching each other. or some gaps or space should be given between two letters or words, and they should be upright except for dimensioning. We'll come to dimensioning how it is done, but in general when you're writing a name or IIT or something, that should be upright, but we have seen. Okay. Now let us come to dimensioning. So basically when you the geometrical figure, you also need to mention what are the dimensions involved. For example, what is the diameter of the hole, what is the length of that object, so things like that. So basically you will write a number, whatever is, like let us say 10 centimeter, 10 millimeter, and make those lines. So you can these are the lines which can be used to mark dimension. Okay, again I'm just giving you background. Once we also look at some examples. So once we go to examples, then it will be hopefully more clear. So we for dimensioning, two types of line will use: dimension line and projection line. And again, this will both will be thin continuous line, which you can go back to the previous slide where I've shown different types of line. And let me go back. So this is what is used for dimensioning. Okay. Thin continuous lines. Okay. Moving on, yeah, this is the example. So let us say this is an object you made. You want to show what is the radius of this curve. You want to show what is the diameter. So you will take it and write. This is the symbol for diameter. So diameter is 15. So generally the dimensions are mentioned in millimeters. So if nothing is written here, so I'll say that it is 15 millimeter diameter. And then you write dimensions like this. You can also write in tilted at 90 degree. Okay, so this is the dimension value and this is the dimension line and this is the projection line. So as you can see, this is thin continuous line. This is thick. When you are making an object, that will be thick continuous line, and projection line and dimension line will be thin. Okay, so this is what it will look from the front. If you look from the top, it will look something like this. And again, we'll talk more about it when we go to different types of views. But this slide is just for.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
सर थिक और थिन लाइन बनाते कैसे हैं? मतलब डार्क और लाइट है कि थिक और थिन, मतलब कैसे बनाएंगे?
So generally you will use different types of pencils, and dark means you will see. Okay, let me go back. Where we had that pencil thing. Sorry. Okay. So generally what you will do is you will initially construct line using H. Okay, and on top of that, then you will make final drawing using 3H. So first make initial construction line for your geometry as well as for your projection or dimension lines. Finally, you make on top of that, you can make one darker line using different pencils. Sometimes people also use HB pencils, okay, but yeah, that's the idea. Fine. Okay. Going back, yeah, dimension line. Okay, now basically there are some rules on how you will place the dimension. You cannot write anywhere arbitrarily. Okay, so there are two systems. One of them is aligned system. Okay, aligned means that you write your dimensions above this line. Okay, above here or left of that, left of this, or on top of this, as you can see. And there are two types of system we have. Either we are talking about linear dimensions or angular dimensions. So angular dimension also, they will be on top of this line. Okay, if it is rotating, you can rotate that. That is called aligned system. There is another system which is called unidirectional system. Here you can break this line and write in the middle. If you go back, you see I am writing this line is continuous, and the number is written on side of that line. So the general rule is for dimensioning, you can write on top of this line and on left of this line. You should not write, I cannot write 40 here on the right side. I need to write on the left side or top. So this is for aligned system. Okay, if I go to unidirectional system, then I will break this line and I will write in the middle. Okay, and these are placed upright. If you see the last slide, they are rotated by 90 degrees to align with this line, but here all these are written upright. Upright means like this. Okay, and for angular dimensions also, last slide, they're all rotated in aligned system, but in unidirectional system, I'll write that upright. That is what the difference between these two directional system, how you write the dimension. Another way is that I can do, yes.
What is the difference between aligned system and unidirectional system?
Sorry, please repeat your question. What is the?
What is the difference between aligned and unidirectional system?
So that's what. So aligned will be aligned to this line. You will not. Let me just give me a second. So the aligned system, two things you can note down. One is that the line is continuous. You're not breaking this dimension line, and you're writing on top of line or side of that line. But you can also tilt this. Okay, this is not upright. This one is always upright. Okay, so unidirectional is always upright. Upright means you are looking straight. You don't have to tilt your head to read that. And you can break for unidirectional. You break the line, and in the center of that line you write it. See here also for these angles we are writing it anywhere we are writing it is upright. But aligned system, it is aligned to that curve. It is not aligned to your point of view. It is aligned to that curve, and we are not breaking that line. We are writing on top of that. Is this clear?
Sir, but where we use the aligned system and where we use
your
the
voice is not clear. Can you please speak a little louder?
Sir, where we use the aligned system and where we use the unidirectional system?
I still don't get your question.
So he is trying to say where we use aligned system and
Okay.
where we use unidirectional system.
So it depends on your application. So I will say just wait. See, it is not that this compulsory you have to use this based on what type of application is there, what sort of geometry is there, and so let us say that you have a machine part which is to be fitted in some assembly. So the idea is that you need to be uniform. So if you have some drawings which is already in aligned system, so you follow that. That's all. There are two types. You can use either of them. There's no hard and fast rule. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
This also, so basically talking about arrangement. So can I have continuous or chain dimensioning or common feature? So as you can see in these pictures, so we can have continuous means one dimension I can mark 20, 25. 25 is starting from here, but in common feature we are taking one common line and we are marking on dimensions from there. That is the difference between continuous or chain dimensioning and progressive dimensioning. This is progressive dimensioning. Okay, and this one is superimposed. So basically you see only one arrow. It says that superimposed means from here it is 20, then after 20 it is 45 and goes on like this. So this is getting added, while here it is separately for each component. So this is 25, this is 25, and the whole is 105. So there are just different ways. So basically when you make drawing, different aspects are standardized so that to make things uniform. So that's what. So for example, if I make some drawing in continuous fashion, then for that particular assembly, other drawings are suggested to be made in the same fashion so that there's no confusion. If I make one drawing in this way, then let us say some parts are getting fitted to this, then those parts I will also use the same type of dimensioning. That is the idea, to make it uniform and standard across different people, different components and different sections. Another way is you can use combined dimensioning. Okay, so you can mix up the two. You can write like this, and you can take from left side or right side, any side you can take a projection and write the dimension. Another interesting way is you write dimension according to coordinate. So for example, I have 5 holes here. Okay, so I will write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 holes, and I have 5 coordinates, 5 origins. So I'll write 5 centers. So I'll write what is the x and y coordinates of these centers. So I'll given x and y, x and y, x and y of these two, and what is the diameter. So this could be used when you have like multiple holes in a sheet, perforated sheet kind of thing. So again, that will depend on what part you are making, what is the application, and which drawing, which dimensioning thing is more convenient. Okay, to answer that question, let us look at this. So for example, if you want to mark like this in such a drawing, it will not be very convenient, right? So if you have like multiple holes, this is more convenient. So it depends on what part, your convenience, which can be easily made, and it should be standardized across different groups or different parts. Okay.
हेलो सर.
Yes.
सर ये अभी आपने बताया जो कि सर ये पिछले वाला स्टैंडर्डाइज नहीं हो सकता, हमने जो पिछला मेथड यूज किया सर, तो वो कैसे एक बार फिर से बताएंगे?
So these all are standard method. What I am saying is there are different types of methods depending on what is your application. Okay, for example, if your application is, let us say this, okay, then writing this type of coordinate is not very useful. So the idea is that you just need to be compact and useful. So if you look at this example, okay, so this is the best way in which this type of figure can be represented. Or just wait for some more time. When we go to examples, when we go to solid bodies, then it will be easier to understand why a particular dimension we are preferring over other. Okay, all these are standard. All these can be used for any drawing. But depending on what our application is, what type of part is there, we will prefer some dimensioning method over other. That will come through practice. So as of now, you just understand what are the different types, and once we go to drawing part, we'll look at some examples. Then it will be more clear. Is it fine?
सर ये phi क्या represent कर रहा था?
Phi is for your diameter. I think here. Phi.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So generally, when you have a circle, you will write the diameter. If you have an arc, you will write radius of that arc. Okay, so see, radius, you can just mark an arrow and write R5 means radius is 5 mm, R20 means radius is 20 mm, and things like that. Circle, you write 5 means diameter, chord length you can mention. So different sections. Okay, angle you can write like this. Okay, now some rules why what type of dimensioning should use. So first is that it should be clear and it should not be ambiguous. Okay, when I look at it, or when you look at it, or any other person look at it, it should give only one meaning, only one interpretation. That is the most important rule for dimensioning. Okay, and general principles that it should be large enough, legible, and clearly written. Then circle is given by its diameter, and arc, just write the radius. And generally the standard ISO recommendation is to write in millimeters. If nothing is mentioned, then you can assume it is millimeters. Or if you are using other units, you need to mention that, and then make the dimension point decimal point small, and if it is smaller than 1, then write 0.35. Don't write 0.35, write 0 also. Another thing is projection lines. So for example, so projection line should be perpendicular to the feature being dimensioned. Let me go to an example. So for example here, so this is the projection line. Okay, when I take a projection, I say from here to here, it is 20 millimeter. So I cannot take this line at a, yes, any question? Okay, so I cannot draw it like this. Okay, it has to be perpendicular to the feature I'm talking about. That is the projection line. Okay, dimensional value should be placed preferably near the middle. So what we have seen, if there is no space, then you can write at the extended portion. Again, these are some general comments or general remarks. I believe most of these things will be more clear once we start looking at examples. So just don't worry too much now. Okay, let us go to construction. Let us look at some of the figures and how to make those constructions. So let us take some examples. So first, a simplest example is how do you bisect a line or an arc? Okay, so basically you want to make two equal parts. So how you will do? First, you draw that line using a scale, and then you take a compass. Okay, compass radius should be more than half of this approximately, and put this compass on at A. From A, you cut an arc like this. Let me get a pencil. So from A, you will cut an arc like this on top and bottom. Similarly, place that compass again on B and cut an arc on top and bottom. And if you join that, that will be the perpendicular line. That will basically that will bisect it in two parts. So AO will be equal to OB, as you can see here. Similarly, for arc, same thing you have to do. Take one compass, put it at A, center at A, and then mark one arc at some distance, and mark one arc below, above and below of that arc or circle. Then keep your compass at B, center is at B. Now I will mark two arcs here, one arc here and one arc here. So just this intersection point, join this with C with D. This is your C and D, join them. You will get two equal sections, AO and OB. So when I write like this, I say that these two are equal. So this is the one of the simplest examples, bisection of line or arc. Now let us look at drawing perpendicular. Okay, so what we need to do is, we'll have a straight line. Let us say AB is the line, and we want to draw from point P. I want to draw a perpendicular to this line from point P. So I'll take a compass and I will draw two lines, C and two arcs, C and D. Basically, I am trying to mark two locations which are equidistant from P. Okay. Now from these locations, I will keep a compass here and I will mark one arc like this above. Similarly, from point D, I will put a compass here and make one arc like this. Okay, now if you join this, this will be perpendicular to the given line. Is this clear? So if you have any doubts, feel free to ask, because you will get homework where you have to do this. So any questions, just ask, I will explain it again. Okay. Moving on. Now I want to make a perpendicular to the line from outside that line. Okay. So first, let us say, so this is the sort of assignments that you will be getting. So Draw a perpendicular to 80 millimeter long line from point P lying at distance 50 mm. This is, let us say this is the question you get in your assignment. So what you will do is, first you draw this line AB. Okay, from AB, just read those steps. So in your assignment, you don't have to write all these steps. You just have to draw this. But this is for your understanding. You could go through this once if you have any doubts. Okay. So first you take a center at A and radius 50 millimeter. So it says line at a P is at a distance 50 mm. So you take A and draw an arc. Okay. At 50 mm. So this will be the arc. Now with center B and radius 60 mm, draw another arc to the previous arc at point P. Sorry. Let us read the question again. Draw a perpendicular to 80 mm long AB. AB is 80 millimeter from point P lying at distance 50 mm from A and 60 mm from B. Okay, so point P is, this distance is 50 mm and 60 mm from B. So it is not like equally distance. Okay. Now, first read the line with center A, draw 50 mm arc, center B, draw 60 mm arc. So it is not shown here. Let me write it down. From A as a center, I'll draw one arc like this for 50 mm radius. From B, I'll draw another arc which is 60 mm radius. It will intersect at P. And similarly, if I from B, I will draw here and here both. From A, I will draw here and here both. So you just join this, you'll get the line PE. Okay. Now, what you need? Sorry. Let me repeat it everything once more. I did a mix up. So let us follow these steps. First, you make 80 mm line. Sorry, line AB is 80 mm, right? Now, with A as a center and radius 50 mm, draw an arc. Okay, with B as a radius, first take radius of 50 mm, then take radius of 60 mm. Okay, and that will intersect at P. So from A, you draw an arc like this, 50 mm. From B, you take 60 mm radius and draw an arc. So you have got P now, right? Now, set the compass at P and take a large radius. Okay, and draw CD to meet AB at B and C. So this is basically I'm getting two equal portions. So C, let us say this is O. So OC is equal to OD. Okay, now you take the compass and draw 2 points to intersect at E. So this is drawn from C, and from D I'll draw one more point so that it intersect, I find E. Okay, now from E you join this line. So that is your perpendicular from P to point E. Is this clear?
Sir, can't we create point E from A and B only?
Can't we create point?
Point E from A and B.
Yes, sir. Just like point P.
Yes, that is also, see, generally when we create perpendicular we take equal distance, but yeah, that is also, that should also be okay. You can actually, yes, you are correct. You can take 50 mm, draw here and draw, that is one more method. That is a simpler method actually. And then you take from point B, take 60 mm, draw here and draw here. That should do the job. Only thing is, will it be perpendicular? It should be. Yes, that should also be fine. You can draw and check. Only my doubt was whether it will be perpendicular or not, but ideally speaking, it should be perpendicular. Then you are done the job. Yeah. So there will be always more than one method to solve. Whatever is convenient and easier, you can follow that. Fine. Moving on. So another exercise you will get is divide a line in equal parts, or maybe some ratio is given. So what you will do is, let us say this is a line, then you take another line and divide it. Basically you take any acute angle and you can make this line as per your requirement. For example, if let us say this AB is given as 80 centimeter and you want to draw it into 7 equal parts. So 80 is not a multiple of 7, right? So instead, if I let us say make this line for 7 centimeters, so it will be easier for me to divide, right? So or I can do is I can take this line to be very long, little longer, take one divider and then mark some 7 points. So once you start marking those points, this will be equal, this will be equal to this, this will be equal to this. And then you draw lines parallel which will hit, all these parallel lines which will hit the original line, and then it will also be divided in the same ratio. Fine. Similarly, if you want to make divide the line in ratio, so for example here it was 7 equal parts, now I want to be in the ratio of 2:3:4. So what I will do is, again I will make that many divisions here and then I will take 2 divisions. What is the ratio? 2:3:4. So 2 division here, 3 divisions here and 4 divisions here. Fine.
हेलो सर. हेलो
Yes.
सर, जो हम लोग वो एडी वाली जो लाइन है,
AD,
मतलब
okay.
D2 डैश है, तो हम लोग उसको स्केल से ड्रॉ कर रहे हैं या फिर वो उसी से मतलब कट कर रहे हैं हम लोग 2 डैश पे कंपास रख के फिर मतलब AB वाली लाइन को कट कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कर रहे हैं क्या?
Okay, I will explain again. This slide or last slide?
मतलब ये D2 डैश हम लोग ज्वाइन कैसे कर रहे हैं?
Scale. Basically the idea is that, okay, D and 2
सर ये
dash, right?
डैश मार्क कैसे कर रहे हैं?
See, the idea is that this line has to be parallel to this. That is the requirement. So once you, what you have to, first line you will draw is, first you will join this. Whatever you parts you take, whether you are dividing in 7 parts, 8 parts, whatever is the final length. Okay, here we are dividing into 2 plus 3 plus 4, 9 parts, right? So I mark till 9. From 9, I will join this. Whatever angle it is there, I don't care. My only concern is that this line has to be parallel to this. Then only you will join. Then only it will be dividing in the same ratio. This you must have read in the properties of triangle for in high school maths. So since these are parallel lines, this part EB will be in the same ratio as this. Okay.
Numbers कैसे
Sir, then how do we mark point D and E on AB?
AD, okay, let me do one thing. Let me draw it for you. Just give me a second. If my pen works, I will show you. So let me get one new slide. Okay, or let me draw it here. Okay, so can you see my screen, whiteboard?
Yes sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
It will not be very good. I am not using scale, but I will give you an idea of how it is done. So let us say this is my AB. Okay, this is AB. Fine. I want to divide this in, let us say, some ratio. First thing is that I will take one line at any angle.
सर आपने लाइन ड्रॉ की है?
हाँ.
सर दिख नहीं रही है.
शो नहीं हो रही है।
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am not fine. Let me draw it here. Okay. Are you able to see a blank screen?
Yes,
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It was drawing in whiteboard. So let us say this is AB. This is the, let us given length है कुछ भी it is like 5 centimeter, 8 centimeter, whatever is there. That is the given line to me. Now I want to divide this line in some 5, 7 parts, 6 parts, whatever is there. So what I will do is I will start from A. Okay. I will start from A. I will take one line at any acute angle. Okay, whatever that angle is, that is not important for me. What is important is that I need to divide this in, let us say, 7 parts. So I will take a divider. Okay, divider I will wait. So I will take a divider. I will measure this. I will mark this any length. Okay, let us say 1 centimeter. Then 1 more centimeter. Then 1 more centimeter. So like that. Let us say, so how many sections are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Let me say one more section.
Sir, we are marking them from a scale or compass.
So this is done by a divider. You take a divider, or you can use scale also. You can mark 1 centimeter. That is also fine. But the standard way is that you take a divider. Divider may you will get that length, fix that length, and then mark again and again. So all this is 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter or 1 divider length. So this is the divider length. Okay, you can fix that divider, tighten that screw so that length will not vary. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, what I will do is the last point. The last point from here, I will join it to B. Okay, let me do it. Is not. Let me use a whiteboard. Actually, just give me a second. Actually, it is more easier to draw in Blackboard. I'm trying to share that. Once it gets shared, I will. Where is that option? Can you see the whiteboard now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me draw it again for you. So let us say whiteboard is clear, visible to everyone. This line.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No line is there. You can see this line, AB.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I will draw one more line at any acute angle. Okay, this angle is not important. You can take at any angle. Now take a divider. Divider will be from here to here. Okay, one part. So just fix the length of the divider, or you can use it, use a scale also. That is also okay. But the standard way is put a divider, mark these points. Okay, so let us say I have to mark 7 points. So I'll take 1, 2, 3. So let me make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not drawn it very clearly, but all these are equivalents. Okay, let us say I want to divide A and B in 8, or let us say 10 equal parts. 9, 10. Now what I'll do is I'll join this point 10 to B. This will be a straight line. Okay, I've not drawn it very nicely, but it has to be straight. You use a scale. Now the next line that I'll draw, it will be parallel to the first line. So this line will be parallel to this line, that's all. So whatever parallel lines you draw, it will divide this line into the same ratio of this line. Is this clear now?
Sir, how do we take care of them being parallel?
That's what you have to do using set square. Generally we do it using drafter, but set square you will try to okay, you can use both the set squares and make it parallel. Approximate, see, ideally you should use a drafter to make to be 100% sure, but at least you can see small error is okay, but set square should be good enough to make roughly, it is roughly parallel, that's good enough. Fine. So basically what you will do is you will slide, you can take two set square, you can slide on this. Okay, let me think about it. Set square can also be used to draw parallel. I'll show you some images. Okay. Anyway, so let us go back to the presentation. Let me...
So we can use compass too, sir.
Compass to draw parallel?
Yes,
No,
sir.
no.
Yes, sir.
How come?
Sir, with taking center at point 10,
Yes.
so we will have to take an arc.
I'm not getting
And
you.
then, so in class 9th or 10th, I don't remember, but there was a method of compass.
See that will require additional steps. You can use set square and okay, I will tell you. Take a set square here. Okay, set square one angle is set square one angle is 90 degree, right? This angle will be 90 degree. Okay, so if I keep a set square here and draw this, not actually. Okay, or you can do one thing. Once you join this line, okay, let me draw it again. It's not very clear. Okay, let me give me 2 minutes. Okay, so let us say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 parts are there. Okay, I join this to B. This is B. This is A. This is B. Whatever the number of divisions, don't worry about that. So last division I will join it to B. Let us say this is Z or something. Now what I will do is I want to draw lines parallel to this line, right? So I will just, you can make a small dotted line. You can make a line which is perpendicular to this using a set square. Fine, set square one angle is 90 degree, right? Any set square, one angle is 90 degree. So make one line perpendicular to this and then extend that line. Okay. Now for next line, you just draw perpendicular to this line. So this is a reference line. Let me draw that in some other color. Okay. So these are the questions we don't have generally because we are using drafter. But let us say, or let me draw it again. No, it is not. Okay. So this is what we want to do, right? This is B, this is A, and we want to, let us say, some n number of 0.78, whatever is there, I don't care. Last point, I will join it to B. Okay, there's no question of parallel or anything. I'll just take this point, let us say Z or whatever. Let me number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever is there. Join this line to this line. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now I want to create lines which are parallel to this one, right? So I'll take a set square. I will make an 90-degree angle and I will create one line. Is this okay? This line is at 90 degree for this, right? Now at any point, let us say I want to draw a new line at 5. Let me get some other color. Okay. So from 5, I will place a set square in such a way. See, you will get a set square with 90-degree edge. So place it in such a way that this meets this line. So then you have to just draw perpendicular to this line, matching this point. That's all. So keep the set square and starting from this point and parallel to this. So this is how you will keep the set square, and then you will just extend that line. Approximately it will be parallel. Is this clear or not?
सर रेफरेंस लाइंस को कैसे शो करना है सर? डॉटेड लाइंस की तरह?
इसको okay, it has to be, you can draw it dotted also. Basically, let me go to that slide. See, these are not dotted. These are wait, let me share that. Can you see my screen? So these are generally light lines, solid this lines. Can you see my PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So these lines are continuous thin. Okay. So with that line you can draw. Approximately parallel you can make. There's no like don't need to worry too much. Approximately parallel. That's all. That's the idea. You can use set square should be good enough, or from scale you can make parallel lines. Fine, you can try. Otherwise, we can again discuss. I will also think of. See, the most standard way is use a drafter. Drafter, that is the use of drafter. It will always make parallel lines. It is fixed to the coordinates. Yes.
What is a drafter, sir?
This one. Drafter you cannot use. You need a table to fix on that. This is the drafter. Yeah. So this is a drafter. So the use of drafter is once I rotate it and fix it in some location, then all the lines will be parallelly drawn. So generally we use drafter for the subject, but see, approximately if you make, that will be acceptable. It is not like so accurate. Approximately parallel is good enough. Only your method of construction should be correct. So for example, if you get this question in your answer sheet or exam, so at least you show that you have not made this division like this, and if these lines are parallel, it should look parallel. It should not look like very much intersecting sort of. If it is like this, then it is acceptable. Fine.
सर ये क्लास 4 घंटे की होगी?
Sir, while using set square, you made an extra line. Sir, will that be included in the final figure or not, or we have to erase it?
If you can remove it. Basically, it is for guidance. You can if you are using this that's what lighter lines, which is not dark, then you can show that set square is used. Otherwise, just make, or instead of using that line, just place one set square like that. Okay, instead of making a line.
सर क्लास 4 घंटे की होगी?
Yes. What was the question?
Sir, can we do this by using compass parallel line?
If you can draw parallel, it is okay. Just make sure that it is the method is fine. Just check.
Yes, sir. It was in higher school. That's why. It's
You
in
just
10th class.
check what is the method and tell me. I will check and confirm. I don't remember using compass. If you can make.
Yes, sir. Compass method was there, sir.
Yeah, if you can make parallel line, it is acceptable. There's no problem. Okay. Okay, moving on. We also have to cover polygon and circle. Okay. Another thing is, yes. Another thing is how you divide a circle. So you can take a circle and basically if you divide the angle, you can divide the circle also. You can use 12 equal parts or something like that. Now another method is that I want to divide this circle in with a given diameter into 12 equal segments. Okay, so what I'll do is first you draw the circle with a given diameter. Okay, now see when draw dimensions AG and DJ. So you have to make it perpendicular, AG and BJ perpendicular. So if you don't have drafter, use set square. Set square will be able to give you perpendicular lines. So draw AG and DJ. Then you draw arcs of radius equal to radius of circle. So take your diameter to be 25 mm and center A, and let me draw that. Meet the circumference of circle at point C and K. So from A, you take this as your diameter, center of the circle, and draw points C and point K. These are the 2 points. Then draw arcs of radius, same radius from D, G and J. So from D is
सर क्लास 4 घंटे चलेगी
4 बजे तक. We have scheduled till 4, but I will try to wind up in 1.5 hours sort of. Okay, I think I have some few more slides. Polygon is there, then we'll stop because we have polygon.
4 घंटे सर बैठने में दिक्कत है
See, I cannot. I will not take for 4 hours, but 1.5 hour will go. Ideally, you are scheduled for 4 hours. If anyone has problem, you please write to Dean office or director. I have not made this schedule. Okay, anyway, I am recording it. If you cannot see it, you can watch it later. I will upload the slide also. Fine, but I have not made this rule, so I cannot do any change with that.
ठीक है सर थैंक यू
And please, everyone, try to speak in English. We will keep the medium of communication in English. I know Hindi, but I don't think everyone in your class is knowing Hindi, so they should also be clear what we are discussing. So for that, everyone, please requested to speak in English. Okay, fine. So we'll draw arcs from D, G and J. So from D as a center, draw arc to meet at point B, F, E. So from D, I'll make an arc like this, B and F. So basically, from all these points, we'll make arc, and that basically I'm trying to divide in 12 parts. So that is what these arcs will do. And then you join all these arcs, it will be divided in 12 parts. Let us go to polygon, which is actually there in your sheet. So please be careful and attentive. So I'll not go to the definition of polygon. I believe you all know. Now, how do we construct a regular polygon? So either you are given an internal angle or external angle. So internal angle will be n minus 2 by n into 180 degree, where n is the number of sides, or you can take external angle to be 2 by n into 180 degree. So these are the standard angles you can get for any number of polygon for any n number of sides. So this is the basic of some of our construction techniques. So let me just go. I think 3-4 slides are there. We'll just finish it in some time. So let us start with polygon construction. So we'll draw a regular pentagon and regular heptagon of given site using general method. So this is what you also have to do for today's assignment. So what we'll do is we'll start with we'll draw a line OA. Okay, and dimension is given, whatever the side is required. Now make a semicircle AP. So from OA, take it as this as a radius and make a semicircle like this. Okay, and divide this into n equal parts, where n is the number of polygon. Okay, so mark this, divide this in 1, 2, 3, 4. So this you can do it using protractor. You know this total angle is 180 degree. Whatever the number of divisions you want, you make that angle accordingly. So make these angles using protractor and make these lines. Okay. Now join O, 2, 3, 4. So join these lines using protractor. Draw an arc with center and 2 and radius OA. So center, let me delete all that. So then draw an arc with center 2 and radius OA to cut the line O3 reduced at B. So from center 2, you will take that radius and draw an arc which will cut at B. So this is your point B. Okay. Another arc with center B and some radius OA to cut O4 produced at C. So again you will cut at C. Okay. Now for heptagon, you need more arcs with center C and D. For pentagon, this is enough. Then you can join this. Okay, so you have OA is already there. You have 2 is what you have drawn. B and C is what is required. So we have got all the 5 points. Join all these 5 points and look at the lines. Okay, this image is not very clear, but you can clearly see that these are solid or thick lines and these are lighter lines. So this is what you also need to show in your construction, that what are the solid or what is the final drawing and what are the lines you used for construction. Okay. Now similarly for pentagon you can follow the
divide करेंगे.
Sorry.
Sir, how will we divide in equal parts? How we will divide circle in n equal parts?
So basically you take you can do it by protractor. You know that this angle will be 180 degree, right? So 180 divided by whatever the number is given. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Fine. Yes.
Sir. Sir, could you repeat after the line draw an arc with center 2? I am unable to understand after that.
Which point here?
Sir, after this, draw an arc.
Okay, I will repeat. Don't worry. So first, you draw this semicircle. Okay, just read through the steps. So now you join O2, 3. This is okay to you, right? So we have got this point O2, 3, 4. This is what we have made from protractor. Protractor used to divide the circle and then we join these points. Now take a center 2. Center is 2 and radius OA. So OA is your radius, that keep that fixed. So from 2 with that, see this OA will be equal to 2B, right? These are the sides of the pentagon. So take from 2, take that radius and draw an arc here. Now that arc should cut this line. So from 3 make a line which is going up, and that line should be cut by an arc here like this. Let me draw it. So you have O3, right? O3, you extend O3 from 3 to some distance upside. Now from 2 you take center. This is a center and your radius will be OA. Take this radius, whatever the given length, 40 mm. So from 2 take an arc of 40 millimeter and cut it. This will be B. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
This is the step. Draw an arc and this is produced at B. Now another arc with center B and same radius OA to cut OC at 4. So same way, if you take O4, make it a little longer and put your compass here. This is your center. Make another arc. That will be OC. Okay, now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points in a pentagon. Join all those points with dark lines. Okay, that will be your pentagon. Now similarly for heptagon. Okay, what you will do is draw arcs with center C and D. You will keep on drawing. Okay, from C center C and D, you will draw arcs from C to D, from D to E. Okay. Now join the points, all these points, and you obtain this polygon. So this is one method. Another method is to draw inside a circle. Okay, so what you will do here is that draw a circle with center O and radius 40 mm. Whatever the given side length, the same length you draw a circle. Now mark diameter AD in vertical position. So this question is either you keep your side vertical or horizontal. So let us say I want to keep it vertical, and that has to be 40 centimeters. See how we are marking dimensions. So this is number is coming on the left side of this. It should be on the left side of this line, either on top or left side. And these lines are lighter than this. This final line is more dark. So this is how I should make. So you need to draw a circle with center O and radius 40 mm. Then mark AD in vertical position for case A. So this is your vertical position, and or you will make horizontal position. These are the two parts of this question. Then O as a center and AD draw arcs to cut the circle at point B, F and E. So take this as a center and take this as a center and this as the radius. O is radius. Then you cut arcs, make one arc here, and you get point B and F. Similarly, from B you will get more points C. Then you cut again D, and then you cut again E. Or one simpler way is, simplest, if you want to do it in a more simple way, what you can do is you can make a circle. Okay, circle is, you know, this is 360 degrees, right? Take a protector, divide it into whatever the given polygon is there. Let us say this is for hexagon 6. So what will be the angle of this? Can anyone tell me? What is this angle?
60 degree.
60 degree.
60 degree. So make 60 degree. Make 60 degree. Make 60 degree. This you can do using simple protector. Make like this. Join all the points. You get a polygon. Similarly, if you have, let us say, pentagon. What is the included angle of pentagon? If I draw a pentagon, what is the, let us say if I draw a circle around it. This is not working very good, but I hope you can understand. This is the angle I'm talking about. What will the angle of this?
180.
72
So just draw a circle, make 5 72-degree sectors. Okay, so if I want to draw a pentagon, what I will do is I'll draw a circle. Okay, I'll make 5 sectors with 72 degree. Let me go back to, this is not actually working fine with my PowerPoint, but I hope you understood what I'm doing. So make 5 points and connect that. That's it. Okay. Now there are some triangles also. Anyway, these are not there in your sheet. So do you want me to stop, or should I finish this too? We have 2 more slides. Okay, let me just quickly go through them. I also don't want to engage you for long. So equilateral triangle, you all are aware, you can take make a side and then take this as a radius, mark from radius from here, mark a arc from taken from B as a center, mark another arc, you will get point C. Okay. Now another method will be that you make a perpendicular, make two 30-degree angles, join it, it will be your equilateral triangle. Another question is squares. So if you have either you have a side or diagonal. If you have a, let us say, diagonal, you can make a diagonal like this. Make that a diameter of a circle. Within that circle, you have a square. So make two perpendicular diagonals, join them, it will be a square. Fine. So I have anyway quickly gone through them. If anyone has any doubt, you can write a mail to me, and we can again discuss in the next class. So so far we have covered some basic aspects and geometrical construction. These are some of the recommended books which we are following, and I will also share some YouTube links. So there are more videos which will give you more detail about how to construct. So which will be supplementary to our classroom discussion. Okay. With that, I will stop now.
So you are going to upload the entire PDF, right?
Yes, and please one by one.
Sir, you will be uploading these PDF?
Yes, I'll give you the slides. I'll give you the video. Don't worry. Today's.
Sir, on which platform? MS Teams or Classroom?
Okay, let me